Picture this: a Roman general dressed as a god, parading through the streets with chained kings at his feet. This was the Roman triumph, and it was the most dangerous honor a man could receive. To even qualify for a triumph, you had to be a magistrate with supreme military command who killed at least 5,000 enemies in a single battle and ended the war completely. But here's where it gets political. The Senate had to approve your triumph, and they weren't just judging your military success. They were calculating your power, your popularity, and whether you'd become too dangerous to Rome itself. Julius Caesar faced this exact dilemma in 60 BC. He won a triumph for his Spanish campaign, but to claim it, he had to wait outside Rome's sacred boundary, the Pomerium. The problem? He also wanted to run for consul, which required standing for election inside the city. Caesar had to choose glory or power. He chose power, abandoned his triumph, ran for consul, and changed history forever. But let's say you got Senate approval. The spectacle that followed was pure propaganda theater. The procession entered through the Porta Triumphalis, a gate used only for this ceremony. First came senators and magistrates, then musicians and the sacrificial white bulls. Next, wagons displayed the spoils of war: gold, silver, exotic treasures, even paintings and models depicting your battles. This wasn't just showing off wealth. It was telling Rome's citizens exactly what their empire was conquering. Then came the captives. Enemy leaders, warriors, sometimes entire royal families, paraded in chains through Rome's streets. The most distinguished prisoners were often executed at the Forum prison during the procession. Queen Zenobia of Palmyra was forced to walk in golden chains during Emperor Aurelian's triumph in the 3rd century. The message was clear: resist Rome, and this is your fate. Now, here's the wildest part. The triumphator himself rode in a 4-horse chariot, wearing a purple toga embroidered with gold stars and holding Jupiter's ivory scepter. His face was painted red, just like the statue of Jupiter in the temple. He was literally dressed as Rome's supreme god, but behind him stood a slave whose only job was to whisper in his ear, "Remember, you are only a man." The procession wound through the Circus Maximus, past the Velabrum, along the Via Sacra through the Forum, and finally up the Capitoline Hill to the Temple of Jupiter. There, the general sacrificed the white bulls and laid his laurel wreath at Jupiter's feet, dedicating his victory to the gods. This ceremony was so powerful that it became a problem. Successful generals gained massive popularity, which translated to political power. Pompey celebrated 3 triumphs, each more extravagant than the last. He even timed his 3rd triumph to fall on his 45th birthday and tried to have his chariot pulled by elephants. When Augustus became Rome's first emperor in 27 BC, he understood the triumph's danger. Over the next century, emperors systematically monopolized the honor. By the end of the 1st century AD, only emperors and their immediate family members could celebrate triumphs. Other generals received triumphal ornaments, basically the costume without the parade. The triumph transformed from a reward for military excellence into imperial propaganda. Emperors like Claudius, Vespasian, and Titus used triumphs to legitimize their rule and remind Romans who held absolute power. The ceremony that once made generals into political threats became the tool that kept emperors on their throne. Between 753 BC and 19 BC, Rome celebrated over 200 triumphs. That's roughly one every 3 to 4 years for 7 centuries. Each one was a reminder that Rome's power came from conquest, that its gods favored expansion, and that glory belonged to those who brought the world to its knees. The Roman triumph wasn't just a parade. It was the empire's most honest statement about itself.